Yeah, hello and welcome to this video, which looks a little bit different and for good reason. It's a different kind of announcement video. Yeah, I've worked a lot in the recent weeks and months on a new project that is going to be released in roughly 3 weeks from now. And as you can already see here on the screen, it is an e4 against 1e4 repertoire based on what Fabiano Caruana has played to qualify for the World Championship challenge against Magnus Carlsen. That is about to start in roughly 3 weeks. So the start of this new course on Chessable is basically at the same time as they contest the world title in London. So what is it all about? It's a full black repertoire, as you can see here, against 1e4, and it's based on 1e5. That is Caruana's main choice, the symmetrical reply, the double king pawn, and he goes for, in most cases as it happens on the top level, for the Petrov against knight f3. Yeah, so we have the Petrov as one of the main cornerstones of the repertoire. It is, however, a full repertoire against 1e4, so whatever a white player might play against you, the King's Gambit or whatever there is, you will have a recipe provided by this repertoire. What I can do is I can show you briefly what it will look like, just to have an overview. We will have, okay, the way the screen is, yeah, we have 9 chapters. Yeah, it's a bit weird what I did here with the resolution. So we will have 9 chapters here, and this is the current work in progress version. It is not yet completely finished. There might be small changes based on a better tester feedback. So what do we have? The chapters that we have. We have chapter 1, early gambits, and the text that is lines like the King's Gambit or 2d4 gambit play. You don't see that so often on the top level. In fact, I think Fabiano never got it on the board. Nobody ever dared the King's Gambit or the whatever, yeah, some of those, the Danish Gambit. This is pretty much extinct on the top level. We will see why, by the way. Looking at the lines here shows why no strong player plays a King's Gambit on a regular basis, for example. The second chapter will be all the sidelines after e4, e5 that can be played that are not directly gambits. Yeah? So we have the bishops opening. This is the most important one, 2 bishops c4. It's an anti-Petrov weapon also. And all the other lines, the Vienna, what else is there? Yeah? We have what else? Move yeah, those very rare lines. Yeah? 2 queen h5, bishop b5, c3, all the rarities that are not a gambit. Number 3, chapter 3, will be everything that white may do after knight e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, other moves, yeah, like d3 and so on. And it will also feature the 4 knights game. This is an important thing to mention, that after 3 knight c3, declining the Petrov basically, I advise to play knight c6 and go into the 4 knights game for black. I think this is just better than playing bishop to b4, and therefore this is a full repertoire also against the 4 knights. That will be very useful also for non-Petrov players if you want a recipe against this. So I have a black repertoire against the Scotch 4 knights and the Spanish 4 knights, and all the rarities with the 4 knights played. So those 4 chapters are pretty much interesting to every e4, e5 player who does not want to play the Petrov as their main weapon, but also wants something else against all the odd lines that are still played quite often. And then we have 5 chapters that are exclusively about the Petrov, which deals with the first 2 here, chapter 5 and 6. They deal with 3d4 that is nowadays played mostly. There are two ways to play it. There is the old main line. This is chapter 6, which nowadays is not seen as very promising for white. Black equalizes quite comfortably. And there's chapter 5, where white goes d4 and goes for a sideline, which nowadays is mostly played by white players if they look for something interesting, because the old lines are not really that exciting. Number 7, chapter 7, is white taking on e5 and the sidelines that arise there. And number 8 is taking on e5, the old main line with bishop d3, bishop d6. Number 9 is the modern main line with 5 knight c3. So it is an absolutely complete e4, e5 repertoire. Within the Petrov, I am really focused on the lines that Caruana has played. There are many others available. You have some variety there, but I'm mainly focused on that. One interesting point about choosing the Petrov is not often really taken into account. Of course, the main idea here, how that idea was devised, was really what Caruana has achieved with the opening. It's fantastic how many key games he has won, in particular at the candidates. But one other thing was always very interesting to me. I have played e4, e5 with black for a long time now, like 15 years, my main weapon against e4. But the Petrov was not part of my repertoire up until late 2017. I never played it. But I always felt I should play it. And there is one key reason for that. If you look at databases and you pair with the black pieces against players who play 1e4 on a regular basis, the typical picture is, let's just say you have 100 games of that player in the database. And with e4, e5, I mean, yeah, let's say 100. It's a huge figure. Oftentimes you will have less total games, but let's say you have 100. The typical picture is they have 90 to 95 games with knight c6, so it will be a Ruy Lopez or a Scorch or whatnot, and then they have 5 games, maybe 10 games with the Petrov. It is just not that frequently seen, and this is basically applying to all levels of play, even like amateur play, club play, or the typical or the typical opponent that I also face. Yeah, like IMs, master players, like 90% you see knight c6 and you don't see the Petrov. And people simply don't have a really detailed knowledge of it with the white pieces, because you don't get it on the board often. Therefore, with the Petrov, you get an opening choice, an opening weapon where actually you will very, very likely know it better, because you will get it on the board quite frequently if you do it, if you employ it on a regular basis, and your opponent will not know it. And details are absolutely crucial in this opening, because if white plays something that is even like a little bit substandard, he will have absolutely nothing in terms of an advantage. And yeah, if they play absolutely totally unambitiously, you have even ideas to take over the initiative. That actually applies in particular to lines where white takes on e5 on move 3, which is the most frequently played move. It is, of course, a solid opening. It has a very strategic and somewhat boring reputation. This is not entirely unjustified because of the symmetrical nature of e4, e5 in general. However, many lines are extremely tactical, where it makes a lot of sense to know them, of course. And what you also have to keep in mind, it is an opening that is very open in nature. So if you value piece play and, generally speaking, classical values in chess, it will be a good opening for you to choose. It's not the one opening that you want if you want crazy complication or completely irrational positions. That will not happen all that frequently. Of course, if white throws the kitchen sink, you will have some of that as well, but it's not what you want to or what you have from the get-go. So an important detail, we released it on November 12th, yeah, so 3 weeks from now. It will have video, so if you know how the Keep It Simple 1e4 worked on Chessable, you will know how it will work. It's a nice way of studying. You have a video component which is synchronized with the moves that you can learn in the course. We will have this this whole let's go to the title page. We are on 669 trainable variations. So compared to the Keep It Simple 1e4, which is the easiest comparison, it is the same amount of lines. Yeah, it is just a little bit deeper. The average line depth is higher because we have to look a little bit deeper here with black. We have in terms of instructional word count, it's also roughly the same. This is not the final figure, by the way. That will very likely go up slightly. So it is yeah, good chunk of information. Note that this is like the videos. We have another video in there just to have the page being working, that there is something there. But of course we will have a video for with the Petrov in and not the E4 one. So yeah, I hope you're looking forward to that. It's a full E4, E5 repertoire. It will be, I think, of a huge interest for players who already play E4, E5 and want to add the Petrov, and who want to have good weapons against all the oddities. Because, I mean, be realistic, you won't see it all the time. You will see the bishop c4s and the oddities, and to have some good lines against them is very important on its own right. If you are new to E4, E5 and you want to get it into your repertoire, it's a good start, because the Petrov is, I think, less of a challenge to learn compared to 2 knight c6, where you have to learn the Italian, the Rui, the Scotch, and yeah, also a boatload of other gambits that might happen after 2 knight c6. So it's an easier start to E4, E5, and you will have opportunity to learn all the odd lines like the King's Gambit and so on. And if you later on want to get more variety, and you can still add 2 knight c6 and play whatever, Rui from the black side, whatever line you want. So I think it's a good start or a good addition for people's repertoires. For me, it was interesting because I knew E4, E5 on a general level, other lines, and now the Petrov is an addition to my repertoire that I can play if I think the opportunity is fine, depending on opponent and other situation. The Petrov is an excellent alternative. Yeah, I hope you liked the preview and this little teaser. I will definitely keep you updated once we are nearer to the release date, when exactly it will be. I think November 12th is settled, but we'll see. And we will also have preview videos for sure on the channel. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching this little intro, this little preview. And again, I'll keep you posted. Bye bye for today.